Week. That's important. Set aside one day every week and just go on a date, even if it's a picnic. We just went to watch the sun go down and bring a picnic lunch, and the aunts joined us, so we wound up having our romantic picnic in a car, okay? Call on the phone, not to find out what's for dinner, but to find out how she's doing. Kidnap your wife for a night. Blow her mind. Just get her in the car and go, we're going. Have a make-out party with your wife in a romantic place. Whoa. Find out what her love language is. You know the Gary Chapman's book, 5 Love Languages: Gifts, Acts of Service, Affirmation, Physical Touch, Quality Time. You know, you need to figure out what turns her on. I mean, you might be touching her and she might be going, jewelry, you know. And you might be buying jewelry and she says, time. So you got to find out what, and then learn to listen to your wife. You don't have to solve her problems. She just wants to know that you're listening. Just listen. And then go, well, we can do this. No, don't say we can do anything. Yes, dear. Okay, I think I understand. Lose the remote control for a week. Oh, man, yeah, you're asking a lot, Jan. I don't know about that. You know what the remote control is? It's a control that makes us remote. Lose it, just for a week. Find out how much more time you have with your wife. Rekindle your love. Guys, any of the women in this place, I want you to just not listen to this. Find out what turns your wife on. And don't finish when she's just getting started. Learn how to make love to your wife. Make sure she wakes up every now and then with a smile on her face. I know you don't mind that one. You know, the Talmud says, when love is strong, a man and a woman can make their bed on a knife. But love is weak. A bed of 100 yards is not large enough. All right, we got to move quickly. I want to talk about how to fight. We need rules to fight. First thing is never, never, never publicly humiliate or bicker with your wife in public. In the neighborhood I came from, we had an expression, don't put your business on the street. Don't publicly humiliate or fight with your wife. No matter what happens, you both agree, preferably when you're not fighting, not to fight in public. Second, never be abusive, verbally or physically. If you've crossed the line, you need help. You need some accountability. Hit a wall, don't hit your wife. God created this hand to serve her, not to hit her. Never complain to anyone about your wife. If they can't solve the problem, you're just gossiping. You got that? And badmouth your wife to somebody else, your mother, your mother-in-law, anybody, man, because when you make up with her, they'll still think she's a creep. Settle your business at home. And listen to the heart, not the head. Sometimes the agenda is not what you think it is. They'll be really upset about something, and they'll run at you about this, that, and the other thing, and you'll try to argue, well, I do shut the lights, honey, I'm not trying, and you just waste this, that, and then you realize, it was your anniversary, dude, that's what she's yelling about. You blew it. It had nothing to do with the lights. Listen for the real agenda. Don't attack the person, go after the issue. Here's one that I really like. Agree to postpone a fight. Got that? My wife loves to pick fights at 11:30 at night. I like to sleep at 11:30 at night. She says, well, we got to work this out. We can't go to bed with anger. I go, we don't have to be angry, girl. We could just go to sleep. We have a deal. We can postpone the fight. No more than 24 hours, because that's jive. Okay? But within 24 hours, we can agree, I promise you we will deal with this at lunch tomorrow. Or, you know, but you can postpone a fight. The most important thing, I'm sorry. I forgive you. Most important words in a fight. I'm sorry. I forgive you. You got to learn how to do that. Okay, I got to keep moving on. All right. I want to talk about kids. And the most important thing I want to say about kids is that You're responsible. You're the gatekeeper. You're the one who's supposed to protect and encourage and uphold them and make sure that they are spiritually prepared for what goes on. It's no coincidence that when God introduced himself to this world, he introduced himself as Father. Father is the first person you meet that says, no, I love you. Which is, I love you, but here are the rules. And we as fathers need to be able to be like that. I love you, but this is the line. With love, we need to set boundaries for our kids. With love, we need to set up how they're going to live their lives. Unconditional love. I remember my daughter was away at college. Melissa and I went to visit her, second year at college, and she told us she didn't believe in God. You can't imagine how that crushed us. Crushed us deeply. I told her, I said, sweetheart, whatever happens in your life, I will always be your father, and you will always be my daughter. Whatever you believe, whatever you do, that will never stop me from loving you. Then we prayed, and we prayed, and we prayed, and my daughter came back to the Lord. I want you to know, I came to a Promise Keepers event, and I was with Wellington Boone, and I said, Wellington, my daughter is backslidden. Would you pray for her? And Wellington undertook to pray, as others did. And later on, when we have a time of writing a letter, that's something we can do. If some of you have kids that are not walking with the Lord, you can be praying right now. I'm really running out of time, so I just want to kind of move on and talk about spiritual issues. Pray on a regular basis. Pray in the morning, pray in the evening. Bible reading. Try the Song of Solomon right before you go to bed, guys. Nice. Try Proverbs in the morning. Plan family retreats. Pick a church and make sure you go there on a regular basis. Find a ministry that you can do together. Find a local mission, food bank. Family time once a year. Spiritual mentor. Find somebody, a couple, that you want to be like in 20 years. And ask them how they got to where they were. I want to read something in closing. I started with a joke about a cemetery. I want to close with a story about a cemetery. Dr. C.R. Angle was holding an evangelistic crusade in a large church on Sunday morning. He told how a famous author, Thomas Carlyle, married his own secretary. But Carlyle was thoughtless, absorbed in his own interests, treated his wife as though she was still his employee. Stricken with cancer, she was confined to bed for a long time before she died. After her funeral, Carlyle went back to his empty house. Sad and grieving, he wandered around the downstairs thinking about the woman he'd loved. After a while, he went upstairs to her room and sat down in the chair beside the bed on which he had been lying for months. He realized with painful regret that he had not sat there for very long during her illness. He noticed her diary. While she was alive, he would never have read it, but now that she was gone, he felt the freedom to pick it up, and he caught it. One entry caught his eye. Yesterday, he spent an hour with me, and it was like being in heaven. I love him so much. He turned a few more pages and read, I listened all day to hear his steps in the hall, but now it's late, and I guess he won't come to see me. Carlyle read a few more entries, then he threw the book on the floor and rushed out through the rain back to the cemetery. He fell on his wife's grave in the mud, sobbing, if I had only known, if I had only known. But you do know. Now you know. We need to go back. We need to renew our vows with our wives. I happen to be fortunate enough to have brought my wife with me. And I'm going to honor her before God and these witnesses and renew my vow to her tonight. Melissa, would you stand, please? Melissa, I would marry you all over again. Next to Jesus, you're the best thing that's ever happened in my life. I vow before God and these witnesses to try and live and do all the things I advise these men to do. I do this for the glory of God and for your love.